So I'm gonna get a ton of hate for this, but I gotta say it, guys. The worst thing you can do as a real estate agent in 2026 is take Zillow leads from anybody. What's up, guys? My name is Will Higgins. I'm a Southern California realtor, and I am working on becoming the biggest agent on YouTube in my market. So again, on this channel, guys, I've been talking about my journey in YouTube. Here we are. This is month 9 or 10 of me being on YouTube. We've already closed 8 transactions. And again, we got a big week ahead of us. So who knows what can happen next. But in today's video, guys, if you're thinking about taking Zillow leads, or if you're joining a Zillow team, or if someone is, putting Zillow leads as a reason to join their team, guys, if you have no other plan, that is probably the worst thing you could do, because first of all, you're working for 25 cents on a dollar. And what I mean by that is Zillow takes 40% off top, right? Then you probably have a 50-50 split with the team lead. Then you got to pay your brokerage. So at the end of the day, you're probably walking away with 25%. That's generous. So with that being said, for every one deal that the non-Zillow agent closes, you have to close 4 deals, okay? So for every one deal I close, you got to close 4 deals. So yeah, it looks cute to be busy and to be closing deals. But in today's video, what I want to talk about are the things that I've had to work on so that my closing rate is higher, right? Because if you're just generating leads from social media or other kind of ways, you're probably going to generate less leads. But if you can work on some of these soft skills, the things that we're going to talk about today, your close ratio is going to be higher, so you won't need as many leads, right? So basically, you need to become your own Zillow, okay? So that's all the things that I worked on. Also, like if you're in real estate, and I've talked to a lot of realtors, and a lot of them don't know the holes in their business. If they don't know the holes, they can't fix them, okay? So you really want to be able to self-diagnose, okay? And I want to preface this conversation by saying, again, I'm not a guru. I stopped giving unsolicited advice to realtors a long time ago. So now I'm just speaking from experience, okay? So the first thing I want to talk about is trust, okay? If you want to convert online leads, you have to be able to develop trust. So what I've seen is that agents aren't closing deals. A big reason why they aren't closing deals is lack of trust. And lack of trust comes from no confidence on your part, but also it comes from no confidence on the buyer's part. And that's because you don't have a system or process you take them through to guarantee or to make them feel secure in working with you, okay? And this is something that takes time, right? But it's something that I've developed because, again, I'm not from California, but this is how I feed my family. Like, I'm serious about this, so I've had to close deals, and I've had to overcome this. So I've had to be able to build trust because most of my deals have come from, online sources, right? So what I've worked on in my process that I take the clients through is, as soon as I get the lead, I'm very responsive, but I also get them on a call first. And I let them know that, hey, we like to start the process off with a call just to find out more about you, your family, your goals, but also to find out if it's a fit, right? Because again, you don't have to take every lead. You don't have to work with every client. And I think they feel more secure when you're not desperate, okay? So that's the first step in the process. And on that call, I uncover their timeline. I uncover their motivation, right? I uncover how large their family is, things like that. I do all that on the first call, and then I let them know that the next step in my process is to get pre-approved, right? I don't care if you're buying a new construction. I don't care if you're buying a resale home. I still want to get them to my lender to understand their financial situation. Well, if you're getting the loan, we got to worry about it, okay? And what I've learned, again, is if they're motivated, any red tape you put up there, they're going to blow through that red tape. So if that's your process, that's what they're going to go through, okay? So I'm going to send them to a lender, and then when they come back from the lender, that's when I'm going to have that hour and a half long Zoom call with them. And then on that Zoom call, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over the entire process again, what they can expect at each stage so there's no surprise, okay? Also, I'm gonna get them to sign the buyer broker agreement. If they're looking for new construction or resale, I'm gonna set up those home searches. I'm gonna define the time that they're going to look for homes. Also, this is one thing that I do, and I definitely recommend you doing this, and I got this from my experience in looking for a home, is I let them know that the homes that I'm sending them, it's an automatic search. It's not me sending them those homes, right? If they get anything, it's based off the criteria that we set up. If they're seeing something, if they're not seeing something and they're seeing it somewhere else, it's because it doesn't meet their criteria, okay? Because when someone's looking for a home, you're gonna have every friend that has bought a home sending them something, right? And they don't know all of the details. And then they're gonna be looking at you like, why didn't you send me this? So explain to them that it's based on that criteria. Trust me, just trust me. It's gonna save you a lot of headache, and also it may save you some clients, okay? So that's the process I take them through. And through that, I develop so much trust because I've gone over everything that they can expect, so they're never wondering, right, while we're going through that process, okay? So that's gonna be the first thing that you should work on, or that I worked on, okay? The second thing is that's gonna kill your trust is not knowing the contract. Not knowing the contract, okay? So a lot of times, guys, I hear from agents that, oh, you know what, they didn't sign, I sent them a DocuSign, they didn't sign it. Of course they didn't sign it, because they don't know what they're signing, and you didn't explain it to them. So in that initial call, if I have time, I'll go over the purchase agreement with them. But if not, I did a Loom video where I go over the purchase agreement, okay? So I'll send them that, and then when they get under contract, if we don't have time to review that purchase agreement, I'll create a Loom video and send that to them. If you guys aren't using Loom, you should use Loom. And for me, my clients are fine with that because they met me through video. So I just reinforce that, and a lot of times I'm sending them updates, especially even my sellers, I'm sending them updates through Loom because I can share my screen, I can really explain and get down to the nitty gritty. So with that, know your client, know your customer. If they're like analytical, they'll love it. Okay, that's the second thing where I see agents fail, or something that I really had to work on. And then the third thing, guys, is a pipeline. So a pipeline, your job when you meet these people is to have a conversation, or get into conversation, and then label them. So label the looker. And what I mean by that is, are they an A? If they're an A, guess what? You need to be talking to that person maybe every day, every other day, because they're ready to buy right now. So this is somebody that's pre-approved, they've been through your whole process, and they're actively searching for a home. So that's an A. Those are easy, right? I crush A's. Where I struggle with are the C's, probably the B's and C's, right? So that's your A's. Anybody ready to go right now? Okay. Your B's are going to be people that are 3 to 6 months out. You should be talking to that person or interacting with that person once every other week. Okay, so those are your people, again, that are 3 to 6 months out. And if the right home comes about, they may be ready now, but those are your B's. Then your C's, those are gonna be people that are 6 months plus out. And I really struggle with those. So I actually had to I had a meeting with another agent last week just to really figure out how they handle those C's. And with those C's, they basically told me that they reach out to those guys once a month. Okay, so text, email, but some way where that person can respond to them, so they reach out to those people once a month. So guys, those are the 3 things that I think you should work on, especially if you want to start getting these online leads and you want to start converting those leads. So again, the main thing I'm seeing is lack of trust, right? And you're going to get that trust by having a system or process that you take the clients through. Number 2, guys, is going to be knowing your contract and explaining the contract to the client in its simplest form so that they understand it, okay? And then number 3 is having a pipeline and knowing who to reach out to, when to reach out to them, right? So knowing the frequency in which to reach out to them, and that way these leads aren't slipping through. So now you don't have to, join this Zillow team and essentially doom your business, right? You don't have to get as many leads because your conversion is going to go higher. So again, like I said, I stopped giving unsolicited advice to realtors a long time ago, but if I were you, I would learn from my mistakes and the things that I've had to learn to get to this level. But again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Your boy is working to become the best real estate agent on YouTube. My goal is to close 5 deals a month from YouTube. We did it last month. We're on track to do it this coming month, right? Because we're at the end of June right now. So we're on track to do it in July. And I just ask that you guys subscribe, comment below, let me know what you guys want to learn on the next video. But if you watch this one, guess what? YouTube knows that you're going to learn something and like that video right there. So go ahead and check that out, and then we'll catch you next week on the next video. We out.